Welcome to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. I'm Chris Wells. Coach will join me in just a few moments. This week we'll take a look back at the Blue Raiders' very impressive 58-3 win at 14th ranked Bethel University down in McKenzie, Tennessee on Thursday night. We'll also preview the Blue Raiders' upcoming home game with Cumberland University. That game is set for this Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. That's October 12th as the Blue Raiders host Cumberland University in a Mid-South Conference Bluegrass tilt. This week, we'll also visit with our Student Athlete Spotlight. Jay Gaudlock will join me, a member of the Lindsey Wilson Receiving Corps on this Blue Raider football team. We're going to step away for a minute. When we come back, we will visit with LWC head football coach Chris Oliver. This is the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Welcome back to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. Coach joins me now, and Coach, 58-3 win over Bethel on Thursday night down in McKenzie. Pretty much a complete effort.
Yeah, I thought it was probably one of our best games we've ever played from a complete standpoint for 60 minutes. That was the immediate reaction. You watch the video, you separate for a few days from the performance, and I still feel like that's the case. Really pleased with how our guys prepared, and they were very focused on the task at hand. And they played outstanding. Just really proud of our young men.
Just curious, how often do you, in a pregame, when you see your guys go through warm-ups, how often are you right on, yeah, we're ready to go, as opposed to, man, I thought we were ready to go and we just laid an egg? How often are you right as coaches?
Yeah, probably about 90% of the time. I think there's always some exceptions to that. There's some times when you have a feel and maybe you're just wrong, or maybe something goes your way or goes against you early that can change what really you put in from a work standpoint or from a focus standpoint, and can take away some of that momentum. But I think most of the time, the feel that you have as a coach is usually accurate. And I think we had a good feel about us on game day, and not just going through warm-ups, but throughout the course of the day, throughout the focus. And it's funny to feel something this close to kickoff necessarily, but we kind of stood in the end zone and we watched them take the field, and they got quite the production and the fire, and it's fun atmosphere. And I thought our guys were just ready. We were just ready to go. We didn't make it about last year. We didn't make it about anything bigger than it was, aside from going out and executing. And I thought our guys were really excited to be there, really excited to get the opportunity to go 1-0. And it was one of those that makes you proud as a coach, because I think our guys bought into the process. It wasn't about anything bigger than that moment. It was a big game. Our guys played up to it, but we didn't make it bigger than it was. It was still about how we went out and performed.
This team has, and it's not like endured this, but just the fact that they've had to adjust to it, I guess is the word I'm looking for. They've played a noon game down in Florida. They've played the normal 1:30 game. They've played a 2:30 kickoff, and now they played a night game during the middle of the week on the road. So they've had to adjust their schedules throughout this entire season. Yeah. And this team seems mature enough to handle those type changes and actually have flourished with them.
Yeah, I've been pleased with how our guys have bought into that. And, we try and outline for our guys why we're going to go about our weekly schedule the way that we are. We've made a lot of changes to our schedule. And just a couple of the things for us with the Thursday night games. Well, Monday's a day where we usually don't practice. And we allow our guys, we have a few more classes on Mondays. A lot of our guys have afternoon classes and evening classes on Mondays. And normally that's a day we're not on the practice field, so that doesn't really impact how we practice. Well, you have 2 Thursday night games, that changes your entire schedule. And then you add in a game where we have to leave on a Thursday to go to Florida, as you referenced. And those were things where we practiced on the Saturday and Sunday those weeks and took Monday off. So everything that we've done this year has been unique, kind of its own thing from a practice standpoint. And we are creatures of habit. Coaches and players, you like to know exactly what you're doing each day. You like to have that rhythm of the week. And probably more than any other sport, football is just very compartmentalized in that way, because you play usually at the same time each week. Our guys have handled those things really well. We've communicated with them, and they've bought into that process. That makes you proud as coaches.
One of the things that I've noticed in the history of Lindsey Wilson football, not that you don't play well at home, you do, but there's just another level of focus when you go out on the road, and whether it's getting away from campus or whatever it is. I guess that's the question. What is it? What is it about Blue Raider football that you guys seem to take it up a notch on the road?
Well, I think, you always love going in and playing in someone else's environment, and you can feed off of that. You would always rather play at home, there's no doubt. But there's something fun just about going into someone else's home territory and having that experience. But more than that, I think it's the focus. I think it's the preparation. I think it's, when we do go and stay in a hotel, and you just take the noise out of it sometimes and allow you to focus on the task at hand. And there's a reason why the Ohio States of the world, the Alabamas of the world, even for a home game, they go and take their team and stay in a hotel the night before a game. There's a reason why all the FBS schools do that, because it allows you to take out some of the noise and some of those distractions. So I think it comes down to that focus and being single-minded on the task at hand.
Each week we talk about the prep squad and how they help the team win each week. I want to talk about the guys that are on the trip, and that I guess you would call them your 2s, 3s, 4s, whatever you want to call them, but they're the non-starters.
Yeah.
And in a game like this, when it's kind of gotten away from Bethel, these guys are playing a lot of minutes, especially late in the game. How important is it to evaluate, or how do you coaches go about evaluating their performance in game type situations? Because it's one thing to evaluate a practice, I would think. It's a complete other when you're evaluating, on the field with the clock running.
Yeah, well, whether it's an injury situation, whether it's a situation where you have the opportunity to play some of those 2s and 3s a little bit more because of the score, whatever that case may be, we have clear expectations for the position, for the guy who is going to be on the field in that position at any given time. So whether that's a slot receiver on offense, or whether that's our fourth guy from the right on kickoff, whatever that spot is on our team, if you're one of those 11 guys that get the opportunity to be on the field on that given down, we have expectations for that position. And it doesn't matter if it's a 58-3 type of game and we are in the fourth quarter and running the clock out, or if it's the first kickoff of the game, whatever that may be. So we're going to coach them the same. We're not going to coach them any differently. We're not going to lower expectations. We're going to be very clear about those things. And you want guys to embrace those opportunities when you get them. Not everybody gets that opportunity, especially within the NAI structure, where we have accountable aid and financial aid limitations and those things on who can get into those types of situations. That just is what it is. If you get the opportunity to be on the field at any given moment, that is a great privilege, and we want our guys to recognize that. That's what we're really pleased with, how our guys finished the other day. So many times, we talked about it after the game, it's easy to lay off the gas pedal, just kind of coast through the finish line in that type of game. I thought our guys were fired up for 60 minutes. We finished on offense and defense, just really proud of how they went about their business.
58-3, Lindsey Wilson defeats Bethel on the road to improve to 5-0 on the season. We'll step away for a minute. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about the offense, defense, special teams with Coach Oliver. This is the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Welcome back to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. Coach, let's break down the game a little bit in detail here. First with the defense, played phenomenal. And I just want to read a couple of numbers to you, which I know you already know about this, but the folks out there. Bethel had 12 plays on the first drive, went 55 yards, put up 3 points in the game. Obviously didn't score again in the game. The rest, or actually the next 4 drives, they totaled 15 plays. So that means your defense was forcing them off the field. I think there were 3 3-and-outs in that game and a takeaway over those 4 drives. 55 yards on the first drive. It took them the next 8 drives before they got 55 additional yards. So your defense was absolutely tuned in.
Yeah, we played outstanding. I thought we had a great plan. I thought our kids executed it really well. We wanted to challenge them in some different ways, and necessarily, we wanted to take away the run for sure. You look at a year ago, we didn't do that very well, and that was certainly the first thing that we wanted to make sure we did on Thursday night, and I thought our kids did a great job. And like we referenced after the game, some of the game plan put our DBs in a lot of one-on-one situations, and I just thought we handled all those challenges very well, and we had a lot of gang tackles on Thursday night. There were a lot of times where it was probably difficult to tell who gets credit for that tackle, because we had a lot of hats at the football.
162 total yards of offense for Bethel, 107 after that first drive. Just another number to throw at you. 2 defensive scores. That's back-to-back weeks where the defenses put points on the board. Obviously, that's huge. I mean, anytime you can get points from your defense, it's just huge.
Yeah, if you can get any points from defense or special teams, that's always a bonus. To do that twice in back-to-back weeks is a rarity. But our guys are doing a great job of being aware of those opportunities, and whether it's a sack fumble with the pressure where LJ picks it up and goes back, or a great interception by Stevie Miller. He was on that route and jumped it and made a great play on the ball. Whatever that case may be, those are huge momentum swings. Not only do you get the points, obviously, and keep them from scoring points, but the momentum of those situations, just tough to measure that, and tough to say how important that is and how deflating that is for the offense when those things happen. 5
total takeaways in the game. And Bethel's not a team that turns the ball over a ton. They came in with a +6 in turnover margin on the season, tied for first in the Mid-South Conference with Lindsey Wilson. Coach, there's a lot. You mentioned a lot of hats to the ball. There was a lot of people that you could single out. We'll talk about players of the game. Just from memory of calling the game, obviously Stevie Miller's pick 6 was huge. I said Damani Jenkins' name a lot, a lot early in the game. I think he really set the tone for this defense throughout. He was in the backfield disrupting plays all night long.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he was around the ball an awful lot. I mean, he was very active, did a great job, and he's got a skill set that is unique. He's not the biggest defensive lineman on our team or in the conference for sure, but he's very quick, and he can provide a lot of challenges for that offensive line. And I thought the game plan really focused on him and those guys with doing those types of things of movement. And Damani played a great game on Thursday night.
Special teams wise, your kick coverage was excellent. They had a lot of opportunities, obviously, and Eddie Davis springs to mind. He's so fast down the field, but I think Jared did a good job of basically you guys limited Jacoby Reddick, who is such a threat in special teams, and I think Lindsey Wilson won that battle.
Yeah, I mean he's an All-American kick returner a year ago. He's very explosive. You can see his talent on video, and we were getting to a point where they were just choosing to fair catch the football, and that's a win for us. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, it takes the right type of kick with the right type of hang time. It takes us proving a number of times that we're not going to give up that big kickoff return. So anytime we can do that. We had 1 punt. He didn't get his hands on the football on the punt as well. That's a big win for us on special teams. I thought we played very well.
Offensively, Jalen Boyd finished with 115 yards, his 5th 100-yard rushing game of his career. Went over 1,000 yards for his career. And I thought that offensive line, we talked about it in the postgame, really set the tone. They did a great job of winning the battle in the trenches, and Jalen benefited from that.
Yeah, I thought our offensive line played really well, but you look at that big run, third or fourth play of the game where we have a 62-yard run, and that's going to be one of our big plays this week. I mean, just a great job by the O-line, a great job by Jay Gaudlock blocking, our other receivers blocking. Just a big play there, and Jalen has the type of speed that is going to, make a couple guys misfit and take a bad angle, and all of a sudden it's 60+ yards down our sideline.
I know you wanted to go tempo in the game, that you felt like that you could maybe even tire the defensive line out late in the game. Did the tempo work the way you was hoping it would?
Yeah, I felt like it was successful, and a lot of the times you do tempo, depending upon what you're doing with it, you may go to the line of scrimmage and want to snap the ball as fast as possible. But sometimes it's going to the line of scrimmage and looking at the defense, and there's a few reasons to do that. You can try to look and decipher what they're going to do, but you can also make those D linemen get in a stance and get tired out. And I think that was probably more the flavor of what we did Thursday night, getting those guys into their stance, getting to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes we were snapping the ball quick, sometimes we were fake snapping and looking over and getting a new play. But anytime you can do that, and you see us starting to run the ball well in the second half and ended up with 200+ rushing yards and see our O-line finish, that makes you feel like that tempo and that type of philosophy paid dividends as the game went on.
58-3, Lindsey Wilson victorious on Thursday night as the Blue Raiders improved to 5-0 on the season. We're going to step away for a moment. We'll come back. We'll have our Student Athlete Spotlight. This is the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Welcome back to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. Jay Gaudlock joins me now, our student athlete spotlight this week. Jay, a slot receiver from Gainesville, Georgia. Let's start with the receiving portion of this. Jay, have you always been a slot receiver? Have you been outside some as well?
When I was in high school, I actually played running back, and my sophomore year of high school, I broke my leg, and I made the transition to play running back my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been playing slot receiver.
Really? What's the best part about slot? I guess let's go from one end of the spectrum to the other. The best thing about being a slot and the worst thing about being a slot.
Best thing about being a slot is you can definitely get the ball across the middle. You definitely the quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir. And I say the worst part would be blocking. I'm not too big myself, but I try to put in some time in the weight room to get bigger so I can block some scuffs, some outside linebackers, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the guys that you have to block is those linebackers, right?
Yes, sir. If I don't block them, I'm going to get chewed out by Coach L.
Have you ever wanted to be on the outside? Is it something that I know you like having some space and you got great quickness, but I guess you can find those spaces in the middle as well.
Yes, sir. I'll play anything. I like outside, but I make my money in the slot right there. I like the slot. I can't lie to you.
You're also our punt returner, and I gotta ask. I gotta think that this past Thursday night, Lindsey Wilson taking on Bethel, there was a time when you didn't do a fair catch, and I thought you probably should have. You got your bell rung a little bit. Did you get coached up by the coaches saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's not take that chance"?
The coaches let me really be free out there
Okay.
at punt return. In that situation, I actually forgot to fair catch. So once I forgot the fair catch, I had to make sure I secured the ball and make sure our offense went on the field.
What's it like being part of an offensive unit and a special teams? Because there's a lot of guys that serve two roles on this team, whether it be defensive and special teams or offense special. What's it like having to do two different roles? Because I got to think you got to mentally approach them differently.
Yes, sir. Being on punt return, it's actually kind of tough at times, but if I go out there and I make a big play on punt return, I can put my offense in a good position and set us up to score real quick. That's why I really like it.
Let's talk about off the field for a moment. You're a graduate, one of the fifth-year guys on this team, maybe the only fifth-year guy on this team. I'm trying to think of it right now. That means you've been around for a while, but also you have your bachelor's degree. What's it like being one of the leaders of this team, being someone who's been around for a while?
It feels pretty good because a lot of the younger guys look up to me. A lot of the older guys look up to me as well. So I just try to set that example and be that example so that the culture around here is moving in the same way when I leave.
What's the word culture mean to you? What when you take away, when you leave, when you hang up the pads for the final time here at Lindsey Wilson, what will you take away knowing that you added to the culture?
Just the leadership and our attitude and the way we just go about things here at Lindsey Wilson. When I leave, I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page and they understand what the main goal is and just continue to work hard and be a Blue Raider.
So Thursday night, you're on the road, hostile environment, Bethel, top 15 team in the country. You guys really embrace the role of going into a place where you might have to deal with a hostile crowd, or you guys really enjoy being out on the road. I know you enjoy being at home as well, but you really go at it just with an incredible focus anytime you're on the road. Talk a little bit about that focus.
We just take one game at a time. We make sure we go in and just stay focused, like you said. Like we can't control the environment we play in. We can't control the team that we play. We can't control the rankings. We just go in and try to go 1-0 each week. So
what's you use that mantra 1-0 each week. Is that something that you as a leader have to teach the younger guys? Don't look beyond this week. Is that something that you have to, I guess, drill into the young guys' heads?
No, not really, because it's football. Nobody likes losing. Everybody wants to win. So it's not hard for us just to tell them, let's just go 1-0 each week. That's not just saying go 1-0 on game day. That's going 1-0 in the weight room, at practice, in the film study room, and on academics.
So talk about the film study for just a moment. How much of that goes into preparation for each week's team? How much film work do you guys do?
We have to watch film every day. We got to actually go in to Coach Starr, our receiver coach. We have to go in and sign this board every day. Make sure we get at least 30 minutes. But you're not required a time limit of how much film you can watch. And film is definitely a big key part of the game. You got to make sure you watch film, because if you don't watch film, you're not going to know what your opponent's doing. You're not going to know the different schemes they run. You really got to watch film.
Away from football for a moment, Jay, and I'll let you get out of here with this one. What do you like to do other than run across the middle and be a guy that Cameron Dukes is looking for?
I play a little Fortnite.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
What else?
I think I'm one of the best ones on the team.
All right.
Yes,
All right. What else do you like to do?
What else do I like to do? I talk to my son in my free time.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. I don't really got a life outside of this.
Jay Gaudlock, just a terrific slot receiver for this Lindsey Wilson football team. Very critical component to this Lindsey Wilson offense that is really clicking on all cylinders right now. Jay, thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll be back in a minute. This is the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network. Welcome back to the Coach Chris Oliver Show. Coach Reese joins me now. Jay Gaudlock's an interesting story. He's had some injuries throughout his career, but boy, he is a guy right now that Cameron Dukes can really rely on. You can rely on.
Yeah, for sure. Jay had a great spring, a great offseason. You could see just his development. He's always been a very productive player for us, but you could see him take it to another level this year with his offseason and preparation. So we knew coming into training camp that there was going to be a big opportunity for him just because of the work that he'd put in, and you're seeing those things pay off. And so much of the time at wide receiver, yeah, you can get things called for you. You can get some game plan stuff called for you at times, but you have to really create your own opportunities a number of times. You have to, catch the football when it comes to you, but, with your route running and the things you do, and Jay does a great job of creating those opportunities. He's had a big first half of the season for us.
Lindsey Wilson wins at 58-3 over Bethel. Each week, our coaching staff goes through our plays of the week, players of the week. Let's go through that list.
Yeah, on defense, and a lot of these guys, we rattled off. And some
Sorry
of
about
others,
that.
But Damani Jenkins, no surprise, our defensive player of the week, played an outstanding game. Our offense, we gave it to our offensive line. There were some other individual guys we could go through, but we gave it to the entire offensive line. We thought they played an outstanding football game. Special teams, Jared Doherty, a lot of points there. Kickoffs were great. Had one punt that went for 55 yards, no return. Prep offense, we kind of flipped the script there and gave it to the prep offensive line. We also had Jerome Jones at running back, but we felt like that look for any prep offensive line is huge, but you look at the physicality of the Bethel offensive line, kind of what they're doing and challenging you, and our prep offensive line did a great job and gave a great look all week. Prep defense, Darius Willis and Jalen Rogers did a great job for us. Prep special teams, Darius Yates, Kane Yates, and Jalen Springs. Again, you can't go out there and play your most complete game, probably in our 10-year history, without prep teams doing a great job. It takes all those guys to get that done. Big plays, we had a number of them. Forced fumbles by Damani Jenkins, Devin Jackson, Luke Bowman. Fumble recoveries by Malachi Rogan, Cameron Thurman, Luke Bowman. Interceptions by Stevie Miller, Mark Pruitt. Sacks, Damani Jenkins, Devin Jackson, Luke Bowman. 2 defensive touchdowns by Stevie and LJ Bowman again. Damani Jenkins had a big 4th down pass breakup to get off the field. The entire defense had another 4th and short stop in the third quarter to get off the field. Big momentum killers there for them. Jalen Boyd and Jay Gaudlock on that long touchdown run early in the game. Cameron Dukes to Jay Gaudlock at the back of the end zone. That was a great ball, great catch, great route. And then Jaleel Warren for his touchdown catch. He's a big target down there. And he made a great catch down in the end zone. A lot of big plays on Thursday night.
Lindsey Wilson victorious 58-3 on Thursday against Bethel. And Coach, Cumberland U coming up, we'll talk about them in just a moment, but do you get the sense, obviously when we record this, it's a Tuesday, you get the sense that the guys have come back down from such a big win on the road against a top 15 team?
Well, I think we're focused on the task at hand. I think we know we have a very tough opponent this week, and we have to get over last week. I think we have. We challenged our guys up right away on the sideline. We said, hey, let's celebrate this tonight, and we got a Friday off, and but we got to turn the page. We got a big test in Cumberland. They're a good football team. They're 3-1 and quality wins. And they're physical and took it to us a little bit last year. So, last year. We talked about that last week. We're not going to feed off that. That's not motivation for us. But at the same time, we respect our opponent, and we know this is a good football team. And we've got to get over last week. And I think our mindset is, I think we know what needs to be done this week, and we know that we have a very tough opponent coming into Blue Raider Stadium on Saturday.
Cumberland was off last week, so they had a bye week. Does the fact that you play on Thursday night, does that kind of even things out a little bit as far as preparation goes?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, they've had an opportunity to work on us a little bit more than we have on them, and I would say they probably spent part of their week last week, just working on Cumberland U, just like I think any head coach, any program does that a little bit during a bye week. But it allows your coaches to work ahead a little bit more mentally, get some of that game plan in maybe a little bit sooner. But certainly us being able to play Thursday rather than Saturday, I think it helps us more from a physical standpoint than necessarily a preparation mentally standpoint. It just helps get a little bit more rest and back on more of a normal schedule.
Yeah, that was my next thing. 1:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. That's back to the normal. I got to think that as coaches, you're really excited about playing that 1:30 Saturday game. But players the same way.
Yeah, I think you want them to get in that rhythm, and it's fun to play at night. Sitting around a hotel or sitting around your dorm room or meeting rooms all day isn't always real fun because you're eager to go, but it is fun to play at night. But I think everybody likes the rhythm of playing those early afternoon games. You get up, you go to breakfast, you have team breakfast, whether it's on the road or at home, and you just get in that rhythm and can move on with your day. So personally, I prefer it. I think for our young men, I think they like that rhythm of knowing what's going on and keep that consistent schedule.
Coach, congratulations on last week and good luck this week.
Thank you.
That's LWC head football coach Chris Oliver. I want to thank Jay Gaudlock for joining us. Of course, Coach, until next week, I'm Chris Wells. This has been the Coach Chris Oliver Show on the Lindsey Wilson Sports Network.